Genetic Green Wings versus BraveStar Gaming starts with Dream in the bottom right hand side from BraveStar Gaming. Proxy Raxing in the center of Death Aura. Against the Blue Zerg top left hand side, Rogue from Genetic Green Wings, who is not going to see the Rax to begin with. This is really a bit of a swing match already, I would say, and I'd say actually BraveStar have the advantage in Cyan versus Rex. Trap versus Scarlett, I think Trap is favored, but Scarlett is known to have taken maps off Trap not so, in the not so recent past. And then obviously that means Rogue versus Dream. I actually think this one can be pretty important. BraveStar, if Dream can actually take this, this could be, already setting up for a little bit of an upset, perhaps, for BraveStar to take down a Jinner, who so far undefeated, but so far have played. Well, they took down Kaizi, but they also took down Invictus, and that's obviously not something to be shouting about in a big way. In a big way, as we do see these racks building, and man, Rogue is so very blind to it. He has no idea. This Overlord now, we'll see an SCV. Now he's going to see a second SCV and a Marine, and Rogue will go to the high ground pillar. And now it's time to figure out the defense, but against the 3 racks, it's going to be tough. Pretty much every drone apart from 3 pull. He does have the minerals already for 6 lings and 2 queens. The Marines will just kite. First Marine very narrowly surrounded here. He's going to lose one of them for sure. He's got good target fire though, and again the Marines are coming out at such pace that I think the reality is they can actually do pretty well here as they run through the acceleration zone. Oh, the new Marine popped out and got straight into a surround, and the other one on the other side. And this is a ton of lost mining time. It was absolutely necessary, I think, for for Rogue to actually get a lot of the Marine kills here to slow this down properly. But again, look at how little Rogue has mined in the last little while, and that's got to be a concern. He's just not been able to build much properly for a while. He's going to send links across the map to counter. There will be a full wall off here. Dream was building a refinery. He decides now not to go for it, and he's just going to keep on going. Maybe thinking about the SCV pull? SCV to the low ground. He's not thinking of expanding, is he? I mean, that's not going to happen with these lings showing up in a moment or two. Dream, don't waste your money on the expand just before the lings show up. He actually does want to expand. He's going to see the lings though, so he raises this depot. Yeah, what do these Marines do? They're just going to end up going home? He's going to put the expansion down in the face of Rogue, so Rogue kind of sees the expansion. The only way this could work out is perhaps if this was a fake out, but these Marines obviously keep on building, and you then cancel the CC and you just go for the SCV pull. Although then you don't really need the CC cancel for the minerals, right? So yeah, even there I'm not 100% sure. Still building Marines, and of course that's a good scout from Rogue. That's important information. I think it is pretty... I think Dream was pretty serious about expanding here. No, he was actually very serious just about selling this as something it was not. So the biggest point of the cancel is that you can then still build Marines for a little while you're not mining. The problem is this Overlord sees the SCVs pulling, so Rogue gets the rescout on the fact that this is not going to be a continuation into an expansion. I think he knows this is going to be an all-in. 3 spines are building quite far back as well, so quite deep, very safe position for them to be in. As the SCV is obviously going to get to the front and start a fight. This Lings don't have Ling speed, so Lings are going to be pretty slow to try and join the fight. The spine crawlers aren't ready just yet. Drone's pulling in from the high ground. He's actually going to target down a Queen pretty quickly, but the transfusion goes off. So that Queen's going to get healed. That's a lot of Marine firepower. He could just avoid the spines and go up into the main. I actually think that might be the best call right now. Just go into the main base with these Marines. Honestly, he might just have too many Marines anyway. He's going to kill one. The other spine crawler is out of range, and Dream just has way too much, and Rogue is not going to survive this. And yeah, this Marine count will be good enough because you can just push in, kill those spines, and Dream's going to pick up game number 1. And BraveStar, as you go to the upper right-hand side, the red Terran play here from BraveStar Gaming takes the first map for his team. It's Dream. And on the bottom left-hand side, the blue Zerg player from Genetic Green Wings. This is Rogue. So game 2 of this best of 7. What are we expecting out of this here? Mm, well, I mean, obviously a more regular game to begin with. Rogue obviously gets his map pick here. It's a pretty decent map for ZVT. There's definitely some aggressive bio pushes that can do really well. 811 is actually pretty popular on this map, as Rogue will choose the drone scout for the proxy. A proxy that doesn't exist, of course. Dream, I'm thinking, does he maybe crank out some mech or anything here? It's not an impossibility. Dream is fairly well known to just go for a bit of a BC opener. That's something he's really leaned on quite heavily in TVZ in recent times. Manson on the natural, Reaper coming up, couple of extra drones coming through. This Overlord of Rogue moves over the right-hand side here, so it's going to go over the right. Marine on the way up to follow. The Reaper's going to move out into the center. As she moves down the bottom side, Link Speed's going to set up. With this Reaper coming in to scout, of course, then we'll see what goes on. Honestly, not too much to start. Reaper grenade goes off, a few links coming through. Bit of back and forth. I'll see a couple of links taking some damage. Second and third CC already building, so James is going to go super eco build. See what he wants to do on the back of this. Obviously, there's still some possibility of maybe going for something like a battle cruiser, like a late BC. Starport is going to build at least, so gives us some information. It's not going to be a faster second racks or anything along those lines. There's that extra gas coming in. And this Reaper moving out the front is Overlord Speed. Building on that natural again, Link Speed coming up. Our third hatchery not far from finishing. Yeah, just waiting for this third to finish as the Overlord Speed. It's going to be done on the natural in the not so distant future. The Reaper of Dream is doing good at keeping up info, and in the end, it's just going to be a Liberator into Stim Packet, which feel like. So we're going to see a little bit of bio out of Dream for this game number 2. And what an important game this could be for Dream. If he wins this, takes a 2-0 lead, there is a big chance that BraveStar take this series down. And that is massive for BraveStar Gaming, who already lost to Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Again, not unexpected. But sure, they can do well against the lower-ended teams. A win against Jin Air here, it could mean a big difference in their placements going through the league. So it's a big thing to watch out for. As two Hellions and a Reaper come around, they pick off another Creep Tumor. Takes that down with ease as more Hellions still joining up out over the far left. Queens, a couple of them coming along the left side pretty easily and quickly there as well. Impact's already building from Dream. We have the extra racks coming down as well, so it's going to be 3 racks in total. Now, Liberator will not do much at all, pushed away very easily, but of course, just moving into the bio. Engineering Bay is coming up, and with the third already in position, Dream should be fairly happy with where he's at. Now, Rogue has not gone for a fast lair, so no fast fire or anything here. He will instead focus on the upgrades early, as one Hellion goes down with his attempted run into the third. It was scary for a moment, but there's plenty of lings out, so there shouldn't really be any way for these lings to get in and really get it. For these Hellions to get in and really start properly picking away at a mineral line or so. Big part of this for me is seeing what we have off the back of 3cc. Do we just go to 8 racks, or do we add on a second factory? Do we start thinking about a 4th base already? Because that's really the big kind of question mark in TVZ, especially because there's 8 racks. I mean, it's been very popular all year long, but it's really come back into popularity in the last month or two, especially. I would say the last few weeks even. It's just been kind of like people have rediscovered it. I mean, TVZ has this constantly shifting meta. We've also seemingly moved away from a lot of the lair first openings in TVZ back toward more of these, you know, faster melee upgrade setups. So yeah, it's been a hell of a year for TVZ because there has just been so many different viable styles. That's been really cool to see. It's not just being the same opener game after game, which TVZ in the past was known for. There's been a lot more variety involved this year, especially even in late and mid game as well, with Hydras and Lurkers, and that's not something we're seeing here, but it's still something we'd be wrong not to admit to. This is going to be a 5th and 6th cast on the 3rd base, by the way. So Dream is looking into a future where he is going to be building a little bit extra. He's not just going to be focused on this, but this is a magnificent fight. The Banelings just were not part of it, so Dream's actually going to rip apart a lot of the defense initially, now splitting up. He has got a few Hellions left to help out too. And get rid of these Banelings does he need to? Can he just kite against the Lings? He's going to split against the Banes. Let's up a little bit. He's actually going to win this fight as well. And Dream's just continued attack is fantastic. Melee upgrades finish for Rogue during this at the very end, but now Dream's about to hit his own upgrades. He's got a reinforcement wave coming. Now, I'm not sure if Rogue's really set up to deal with this. Nice snipe there. Gets a Bane as he'll unload and push back some of the creep that's trying to reestablish. And here we go, pushing down. He's going to miss the active tumor up there. He is, but he actually turns around and gets it anyway. He knows where this 4th base is. He knows that's his target. So Dream's setting up a siege on it, and he's gotten rid of the creep to make it very, very possible. The mutas are out. They're not the greatest fighting units, though. Just behind this, Dream starts up 2-2, the 4th base, and the Thor as well. Everything you'll need to help out against this muta force. And obviously, especially with the upgrade lead he's going to create, that's going to be scary to deal with. As our Marine's still down the bottom, poking forward, trying to see what they can do with this hatchery. The answer at the moment really is still not very much, as our Bane's going down one at a time. The medevac's going to get intercepted by the Mutalisks. A few Marines being picked up. The rest of them now taking a turn to try and help fight. And the Mutas actually doing great across the map, but there is still this attack over here, which honestly, Rogue just doesn't have a lot to deal with. I mean, he's got a few speedy Banes to help run into this now, and tank support on the high ground just decently to help slow it down. Now the Lings are going to get on top of this tank, and Rogue is actually turning this around. The damage he was able to do across the map was kind of serious, and now he's going to clean this up as well. I mean, Rogue kind of felt like he was going to die not so long ago. And again, Dream is building into a lot of things, which again, in the next minute or two, help him out a lot. The 2-2 especially. The extra factory is down now. You know, Thors are starting to take to the table, take to the map. Those are all things which help Dream out very soon. And obviously, Rogue has really just been massing units, so we'll see if that helps Dream get back into this a little bit, but it's definitely helped turn the tables for Rogues in at least terms of the supply. As Thor's just going to kind of sit here and actually have some good shots on the meters. The missile turret helping, and that was actually a very winnable fight for Dream, and he did win it. Let's see if you're 2 pull to repair the Thor, and well, I like his defense for the moment, as we do just continue to make our way toward a 2-2 set of upgrades. Drilling Claw's about halfway done. Rogue is taking that step up into 85 drones as well, so really upping the amount of units here. The Thor goes down, the Lings get in for the surround. There was kind of a lack of Marines to really help in that position, so Rogue again identifying what he can take advantage of, and you know, right from the start makes the most of that. A well-played moment, that's for sure. He's out down the bottom side. The Bane's joining up too. Infestation Pit's already lining up from Rogue as well. So again, that Infestation Pit started with the 2-2 melee upgrades very late into the game, right? I mean, the melee upgrade, especially the Carapace, was already on the way, but the melee just now started as 3-3 is on the way from Dream, so something to look at. These couple of Banes were just able to make it to those Marines, and mostly the Mutas were keeping them busy and keeping them scared. It's a nice little pickoff as SCV is trying to protect the refinery, and the Mutas are going to get chased away. Rogue forced up to the top side of the map. SCV's pulled straight in to repair up this engineering bay. The Marines coming up, and Mutas get forced back once again. The Marines actually finding a whole bunch of circlings out on the map, which are just running across, so that's free pickings from Dream. Having a pretty good time. There's a couple of Lings get into the natural expansion too. I mean, Rogue is really starting to do the things which makes Zerg so frustrating to play against. Attacking everywhere, running units here, there, keeping the Terran player very busy. And he's not had any major run-bys to really shut down a lot of economy, right? We've not seen Dream losing like 15 plus workers to a wave of banelings so far. But that definitely is something that's a possibility as this game ticks on by. So don't count that out just yet, as our Ling Bane army coming through. For a moment, I thought that was a very preemptive GG, but it's just going to be a pause as Dream experiences some lag, and we'll get this resolved in a few moments.
Game resumed.
Alright, so we resume. Widowmine shot to start is fantastic on those Zerglings. That's a great start to this. Is a lot of Lings going over that far right hand side. Dream's army up through to the top. I mean, you have a few Banes that are going to be running straight ahead here and pushed back by Marauder Marines. That's going to burrow up on the high ground. If Dreams are looking elsewhere when that happens, that can actually turn out to be pretty deadly. So he's got to be a bit careful about that as he chases quite far down the bottom. The Mutas are ready to dive into the back lines of the Terran once again. A Terran who's about to take a 5th base, though. It's a nice catch. Finds 3 Widow Mines and a Marauder. No missile turrets up in this natural. Obviously, Dream has been very reliant on just his units to be able to defend a lot of this Mutalist play. He really wants to go for a big push out onto the map, and that's exactly what he's aiming for here. As 2 Marines going down, I mean, he turns around again, though. Like, I feel like every time he starts to make some progress, or maybe kind of makes a decision to commit, he's like, all of a sudden, like, no, actually, let's pull back a little bit. Let's wait a little while. And these racks are just not allowed add-ons, apparently, either. A very frustrating situation as Banes roll up the right side. These Banes are kind of abandoned, though. 2 Marines will turn a fight, and actually, I guess the Banes don't do so badly in the end. There's not enough damage output to probably get rid of them. The Mutas in the main base are fighting Marines, though, and that's obviously not pretty either. And, I mean, this is just blow for blow from both players. These few Banes still alive up here as a couple of units are going to walk in, and that's an interception. Medivacs have to boost away. It's amazing if the Mutas could drag these Marines up over these Banes. Not happening just yet, though, and again, it's definitely something to keep an eye on, because those Banes get a major connection. That can be like a big moment in a fight, right? If you get a big connection like that to start, it can change the way a fight plays out. A run by his interceptors. Dream honestly just has units everywhere. He's in the top left, he's in the center, he's on the far right. There's just like 3 waves of Terran pushing across the map at the moment, and he's even out here splitting against the Banes that run in. He does collect the middle and right-hand side armies up, and this hatchery doesn't really look like it's going to fare too well. He drops in over here. Again, this will finally be a cleanup, but to clean out a hatchery, these Banes actually getting some better connections than expected originally, though. I mean, Dream's still trading out okay, and he has the money to rebuild, so it's not a problem. I tell you what, Rogue is so far behind on supply in terms of army. If Dream gets maxed out again, I'm terrified as to how this army fight looks, but yes, we do have our first ultras taken to the field. Fortunately, there's plenty of Marauders in production from Dream, so if Marauders in production, he should be able to handle the first ultras without issue, and that should buy him the time to make the transition into the Liberators, into the Ghosts. That's going to be very, very important to be able to do that. You just have to be careful where they're fighting. There's the Banelings from earlier. Rogue is not paying attention to them. I mean, it's difficult to be focusing over there when you've got Widowmine drops in your mineral lines. You got to choose your priorities, and right now the priority was not to lose the entire mineral line on that low ground base. There's a few Banes vote on this ramp to catch. I mean, an immediate scan from Dream to see what's up. And don't run over here. Well, now you've kind of revealed yourself. That scan is going to reveal the other burrowed Banes. As the Mutas are diving the main, we've still got to push down the bottom side of the map. This Ultra's kind of just on its own. There's no stim on that army for a few moments. Doesn't really matter as Widowmine somehow not getting shots off. Now they do. And it wasn't even that bad, considering that would want to be one of those moments where you might think the Terran takes a lot of splash. Mutas are still trying to cause chaos across the map. As the bio gets down over here, there's actually no Banes at home apparently, so these Banes are gonna need a morph in pretty quick. There's an Ultra here, but only really one Ultra. A Thor showing up too. This Ultra's gonna go down. Dream will focus fire down the Banes as well, make sure they are not an issue, and he's gonna get this base. That's an important mining base of Rogue that's just fallen. And suddenly Rogue is maybe feeling like he's in a bit of trouble. He's got 9 Ultras in production. That's why he's spending a lot of his money. That's why he's still maxed out, but doesn't seem to have anything actually here on the map. Here we go. The Mutas are going to fly into a bunch of Widow Mines. The Thor will finish them off, and suddenly there's no Mutas on the map anymore. I mean, another Ultra pops out. These Marauders will be cleaned out as well, but Rogue just took a major loss. He's losing an Ultra in the center. Dream already gets here to keep on fighting. Widow Mines are showing up behind this to help out too. They're going to burrow up. I've got no idea what they're going to go off on. Looks like mostly the Ultras. Ultras which are just not really supported by Banelings, so this Bio Army can just sit and kite and fire away. And Ultra health bars are dropping real quick. And the Ultras are just not around any longer. And a 50 army supply lead for Dream is going to put him and BraveStar Gaming onto an amazing start in this best of 7. And I would be surprised if they don't at the very least get an ace match out of this series now, as couple Ultras still running through. The Corruptors here to fight the Medivacs. Ultras still dropping. Corruptors are going to get chased. The Queens are in trouble. And I think this is going to be just a little bit too much here, as a couple Banes trying to see what they can find. I mean, the Corruptors are cute and all, and they're maybe going to kill the Medivacs, but they're not going to stop the Bio Army on the ground. The Bio Army that's just rampaging from base to base at the moment, and obviously this is damage that becomes more or less irrecoverable for a Rogue who is trying to get another couple of Ultras up, trying to get a few extra Banes into play. Still Widowmine support as well. I've got to say the Corruptors are being handled well by Rogue, really making the most of this, as Widowmines just straight up run into this base. 15 drones are dead, and well, here comes the round of Banelings that Rogue is hoping will save him. Spoiler alerts, they do not. We will just see all of these drones in the mineral line going down. Marines are going to take a turn to fight off the Corruptors. And this really is just going to be it, friends. Dream has too much. Hatchery's going to go down. Again, I mean, Rogue is just coming to terms with it and figuring out if he can somehow magic up a whole extra army, basically. Some Lings and an Ultra in the center. A couple of Widow Mines trying to burrow here, there, and everywhere. I mean, nice ideas, right? Cutting off reinforcements. The sort of fights that Rogue might be able to win, but again, this is a game which is very much so decided and very much so on its way out. As we see another Baneling here is not going to do well enough, quite frankly. Widowmine still going off a little bit of everywhere. I mean, Dream actually scans the top left base and sees it mining, so he might be a little concerned about it, but again, I mean, these are Lings which are trailing into this army, and I guess there's not many Medivacs left over. The Corruptors have picked off a lot of those. Dream relocates his main base to this top side where he's going to start dropping mules. Widowmines run in, and at the moment, even just denying the mining here can be pretty significant. Unburrow, reburrow, Nelly had the drone shot there, but you know what? Doesn't matter. The main army is actually going to show up. Reinforcements are trailing out, rally to that position. Rogue is mining on the bottom right, just a little bit. See how he continues to handle it. Good splits away as he tries to keep these Zerglings alive. Spore Crawler will go down in a moment. Nope, not just yet. Another Widowmine shot. More of these Lings being picked away at, and they're still going to be pushing through. There goes the Spore Crawler. Here goes the Hatchery. Yeah, I mean, a few more of these broodlings being picked away as the Widow Mine burrows into the top left-hand side, and we're all going to be seeing Dream just back over to the right. These drones going to run through a Widow Mine shots. Oh, the Lings actually kind of just saved the entire mineral line there. 21 minutes deep, and we've got a game that kind of ended a little while ago. Dream just needs to make that one final push. They're fighting an army of 2 Ultras and 47 Zerglings with, I mean, there are more buy units on the map than Zerglings. That's not really a good sign. There's 20 Widow Mines on the map. What the hell? Maybe that's why this army doesn't look great. IO out down the bottom, these Lings coming through. This is going to be seeing a push in. I mean, I wouldn't mind going off. Marine's going to go into the bunkers, and it's going to be seeing the Lings continue to get picked away at. And there's a nice little attack. And this is cute and all, clearing out a base. But Rogue, you're playing 100 supply down. You're about to lose bases over here. These drones are about to run into a meat grinder, but then Dream actually turns around. Looks like he's trying to catch the army. Maybe Rogue's strategy is to tire Dream out for the ace match. I'm going to believe that. Did all these drones just die to this Widow Mine? I feel like they did. Might have to take a quick rewind on that one, guys, as this Widow Mine is just killing drones everywhere. Yep, I mean, want to make this exciting, guys, but you've got quadruple the supply of Dream pushing into a 15 drone Rogue who has an Ultra and Lings. I mean, he really needs the mines to work against the Terran player here, but it's just not really possible. It really is not. Let me actually just have a quick look. I want to see if this Widow Mine killed off all those drones. This Widow Mine here, it goes up a bunch of kills. It absolutely did, didn't it? Oh no, this is what we saw. That was just off screen. No! Oh, 15 drone kills. Brutal. Absolutely brutal as Dream takes a 2-0 over Rogue. Would it be scary for Jin Air Green Wings? Because BraveStar Gaming's Dream put them up 2-0. And that means that here, Cyan just needs to win 2-0 himself. And he can take the series down for BraveStar. Simple as that. On the bottom left, our red Protoss is Cyan. And at the top right, the blue Zerg is Rex. Game 3 of our series as we get this set up and ready to begin. Hatched gas, and I guess very soon to be a spawning pool. To get going in just a moment or two. There it is. So spawning pool getting up and running. Overlord heading down the bottom left side. I mean, Rex. I wonder if they've actually played previously. Rex has been getting better, and Rex has started to put out some results. And he took a map of Solar a couple of weeks ago with a very cheesy cheese, but yeah, so the last 2 times they've played twice this year, and Cyan won 2-0 and 2-1. Yeah, okay. What's funny is actually the last time they played in the China Team Championship, which would have been the last time Jin Air and BraveStar Gaming played a match. Which is because obviously Jin Air didn't play Season 1 this year. Rex actually did 2-0 Cyan. Which is obviously very interesting then. Let's see if you can repeat that, because he kind of needs to. I mean, even if Cyan just takes one map, it's dangerous territory, because then you force an ace match in a world where Scarlett's got a pretty good shot of taking a map of Trap, right? You know, Scarlett has some tricky builds that can absolutely make this a very difficult, game to play. So, yeah, for sure, I'd say this is kind of dangerous across the board as Cyan is keeping track and sees this drone coming over for third. He's going to pull a few lings off to the side, and that probe will even see the third base going down. So good info for Cyan here as the probe pulls back. The adept will replace it, of course. Cyan is opening with the Stargate, and we'll see if he wants to play some Void Ray fun, because we have seen a few Void Rays out of Stargates early in the games the last day or two, but for now just an Oracle to begin with. Obviously early today in the PvZ we saw a little bit of a Void Ray opener 2 games in a row as well. Didn't work out too well, but that was more the follow-up that I didn't like as much as the initial setup of a Void Ray. The Adepts can get back, and as they shade, obviously in a nice little position on that watchtower, so good play with the Adept so far as they'll shade back to the wall off. The Lings trying to run through here, but again, the wall off is good. The Adepts are filling it. Meanwhile, Rex has got a third hatchery up and running. And Cyan can start to put down his follow-up here. The robotics facility onto the natural. The second Oracle going to pop, and he actually did hide the Stargate play initially, so 2 Oracles together could now maybe get across the map and maybe just catch Queens out of position to get some damage done. Honestly, Rex is pretty well positioned with those Queens. And it's not like Cyan's really trying his hardest to hide these Oracles as Rex. I mean, he's just flying through the middle of the map, and Rex does see them. So now he knows for sure that he should make sure he's got defense set up. Although only 1 Queen in the Spore here. 2 Oracles could dive that for a bit of damage. There's going to be a third Oracle as well from Cyan as he takes a third Nexus. So he will play all 3 Oracles in this game. Yeah, Oracle Micro. One of the best. Feels like the second shot, right? You know, wasn't really synced up, so you didn't get that one-shot kill. But he still gets 4 drones. The Cyan gets in for a little bit of work damage initially. Roach Warren and the Lair start up pretty much straight away. Lair, Roach Warren continuing up. A couple of extractors continue to come through, and just going to be seeing our Immortal. That production continues on the natural expansion, so another Immortal coming up. I wonder if how aggressive this push will turn out to be from Cyan. I mean, that's a lot of sentries. Definitely possibility to make, take a bit of presence on the map and to test the waters across Eternal Empire to see just what exactly Rex has, to see if there's any damage that can be done, especially when you've got that many force fields to kind of edit the map to your advantage, to aid you to escape or to attack in. This upgrade coming in on the Evo Chamber. Roach Speed starting in the main. Just going to see the Oracle dropping a Revelation. Queens and Lings getting caught in that right away. The Lings already picked off. Army comes in. Just going to be seeing the hatchery. It's taken down. So yeah, this first push already canceling a 4th. I mean, the Roaches are just late here. And you can see Rex trying to go up into an infestation pit, but I mean, the entire idea of trying to get up into maybe Swarm Host right now, it's obviously very adventurous. The Cyan's just going to show up, and Drone's already in a lot of trouble. The force field, the Queen's going to get picked away at, and still pushing forward. This Overlord's going to go down as well. Our hatchery taking some shots. Honestly, I mean, I think this hatchery's going to go down. Rex just didn't have the numbers here to begin with, and obviously invest into stuff like an infestation pit that's just not going to be ready on time to add anything to this fight. Means that Cyan's just going to continue through. I mean, the moment this third base falls, this game really is just basically over. The Oracles are just diving in, having so much fun. Right now, the Spore Crawl is relocating, so the Oracles is going to continue to dive and finish off a couple of these Ravagers, and well, the drones are going to pull in to help this fight, and the drones might be enough to save the hatchery. You're going to see a round of Zealots warping in. There's not enough Ravagers for Corrosive Bowels or anything to actually come through and to pick off the Warp Prism or so. They actually did have to cancel that Warp in though, so less Zealots here than there maybe could have been. I mean, the damage is still done right. 15 drones down. Immortal's still here. Roach is still dropping. And again, I will say it once more, Rex doesn't have enough to survive this for the moment. So the hatchery does just about survive this prism, pulling a couple of immortals away back down the bottom left then. I mean, obviously from here, Cyan just builds up and goes again. He's going to add a bit of tech in. He's got +1 and blink finishing. He'll add a Robo-Bay, but he doesn't really need to make much use of that Robo-Bay if he just wants to end this game. I mean, right now, you know, Rex's army is looking all right, maybe a little scary, considering Cyan just lost a lot, but, you know, 2 minutes from now, when Rex has been mining with 20 less workers the entire time, that's when Cyan's army is just going to be uncomparable, and with the power of blink in it as well, you can see Rex trying to add on a whole ton of drones to get back in the game, but it just ain't a pretty position to be in, quite frankly, friends. It just ain't a pretty position to be in. Roach, Ravager continue around the left side. A few more swarm hosts coming up. The Nidus network down on the third base. The +2 missile upgrade continuing to set up. I mean, finally we're going to be able to see Rex getting to the point he wanted to be at with these swarm hosts, but the problem is swarm hosts don't save him from the next push in the slightest. So this next push is still going to kill Rex. Like, swarm hosts don't really change that at all. In fact, it probably makes it worse for him than if he built any other units. Roach down on the center watchtower. There's the first Nidus coming up, as we're going to be seeing Cyan getting ready for a push around this left side. Look, fly in, Disruptor goes down, and I mean, obviously all you have to do is kind of back away from this wave of Locusts and then attack while the Swarm Hosts are on cooldown, and that's where Rex is going to have the issues trying to stay alive, because now the Swarm Hosts are just dead supply, essentially, for this current fight. That's a lot of dead supply that's just not really going to join in. Well, the Corrosive Bars are good. They hit an Immortal. Disruptor shot is arguably a little bit short, but I mean, his hatchery is already going to, again, potentially go down, which means you're forcing the fight right from the start. And that's obviously a good thing for Cyan, because that hatchery is so low, you can basically guarantee the fight will happen. Roach counterattack here. Super Battery and Stalkers have to fight it, but I mean, you've killed another 17 drones already. This is maybe the scariest part of the Locust shot, but you can obviously just back away again and just buy yourself a little bit more time. This Disruptor gets a Ravager, and this attack over here was cleaned out. I mean, yeah, just keep on running, Cyan. Get rid of, get away from those Locusts. You can turn around, you can get the fourth base. And you can actually just blink it on top of the Ravagers apparently as well. That also works as while Stalker's warping in. There's going to be another Disruptor flanking a moment or two as this Disruptor gets off cooldown. And Rex is kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place and has no option other than to type a GG, as Cyan will put BraveStar Gaming. Alright, well, chance to shut this down is in the top right hand side. The red Protoss player is going to be none other and Cyan. And BraveStar Gaming Cyan close it out. Let's find out. In the bottom left, we are going to be seeing the blue Zerg player. This is Rex. Well, Genetic Green Rings, they needed Rogue to take a map, honestly. Like, that's all Rogue had to do. But, like I said, I really feel like these matchups lined up well for BraveStar Gaming. Dream delivered, and now Cyan is kind of delivering as well. Hatch gas pool on the way up. Our probe just scouting. No block on the hatch or anything, so Cyan not trying to slow that down. I imagine maybe just a Stargate opener once again here for Cyan. Speed building. Well, yes, all set up. That's our Stargate. Okay, so again, Stargate a second time around. I mean, it's very safe for Cyan as well, right? Definitely gives him the chance just to build up. Definitely guarantees a longer game, and I think that's where Cyan's going to feel fairly comfortable against Rex, who has been known to be fairly cheesy in the past. Try and steal a win away here or there, so the Stargate definitely gives you that layer of safety. There's a lot of lings on the way. I mean, that's already kind of what I'm talking about, right? That's a lot of Zerglings. 18, now 12 more. Well, 10, now 12 more. Oh, he's going to pull the drones. This is actually an attack we've seen a little bit of recently. That I can't remember who did it first, but it actually is kind of a scary build. Because obviously you can drone drill past the first unit here, but with an Oracle out and the Oracle staying at home, that's a massive advantage for sure. Oh my god, the Adept just swapped positions into the wall. That was actually a close call. Shield battery needs to go down. Okay, well, the warp gate is done. Now the drones actually aren't going to be able to drone drill their way through, so the drone drill's the best. The drones, the best they can do is kind of show up, man. This Oracle's just going to pick off so many lings. Next Oracle's going to finish fairly soon as well. More batteries, and then Warlock continuing behind this. 2 Adepts active. This first Adept survived, and this is more than just unsuccessful. This, I think you can classify as truly disastrous, as he's trying to run the drones back home. No, not like this. Yeah. Oh no, the drones trying to drill through. This is one of these plays that looks really amazing when it works, and it makes you look a little bit silly when it doesn't. And unfortunately for Rex, this is going to be quite easily one of those times where it just doesn't work in the slightest. This Oracle shows up across the map. It's just going to go for some drone kills, forces the pull away. I mean, that's going to lose this Oracle. That was a little bit messy from Cyan, not great. Look at the income advantage Cyan is holding up. 20 workers or so. Obviously a lot of drones that weren't even mining properly this entire time. Yeah, Cyan just made the right call. Like I said, the Stargate play is very safe, and in this scenario was absolutely a case where you needed to be very safe against what Rex was doing, and Cyan was able to just take it down from there, more or less. That's going to shade forward. A couple of Oracles here to help it out as well. If the Lings go for this around, the Oracles will really make that a little bit less of a happy affair. The Oracles into this main base. I mean, there's 3 Queens here. Cyan's going to go in for a few drone kills for... I like the idea of going Glaives as well. I definitely think that's going to be just something that makes it... You know, Glaives is the kind of thing now which is just so difficult to hold on against. Oh my god, Oracle back into the main. The Queen's all down on the low ground. Rex, no. Rex is going to take himself out of the game, and Jinek Green Wings are going to get 4-0. Well, again, for Trap, this is just trying to save a bit of dignity. It's like the dignity win almost for Jinna, if they can pick up a map or 2 here. As Trap is the blue Protoss in the bottom left side of Everdream, taking on the red Zerg in the top right hand side. It is Scarlett. So Scarlett obviously 0 pressure. team already won the match. Of course, still a bonus if your team gets a 6-0 or 5-1. It's still a map score advantage, which can make the difference in tiebreaker scenarios. What's really cool, by the way, here though, for BraveStar Gaming is they are on a bit of a streak. They've now won 10 maps in a row in this league, and they're going to be pretty much tied at the top of the table. In fact, I'm pretty sure they might even overtake Dragon Phoenix Gaming. They might need one more map score to overtake Dragon Phoenix Gaming, but I'm pretty sure they're going to overtake them to be second place in the league after today, which is really, really cool. Of course, Dragon Phoenix Gaming will play Team LP tomorrow, a match where they are heavily favored, so do expect, do expect Dragon Phoenix to retake that advantage and that lead in the top of the table. As a third hatchery location is taken, this probe was actually first of all blocked the natural and then moved across the right side to block again. So Trap being really frustrating and forcing Scarlett into a really odd hatchery location. Probe having a little run around, couple lings going out, chasing down this probe to begin with as well. And yeah, probe's gonna get chased away. Alright, well, so we have a peaceful couple moments. Just want to say very quickly a thank you to Arios567 for the 100 bits. Thank you so much for the support, dude. As this probe hides in the corner for some reason, but will be found. Yeah, thank you so much for the 100 bits. Appreciate it. As we continue our way through again the Gold Series Team Championship today. Probe back down to the natural. Warp gate is building on the cybercore. We'll see the Nexus going to finish up. Hatchery about to complete from Scarlett, and again a few drones just moving around, ready to take a natural expansion. And I do just wonder what Scarlett's overall game plan is going to turn out to be. You know, does she hit it with a cheese? It's pretty common knowledge right now that Scarlett has been playing a lot of Brood War. And I think this is just going to be a link flood, by the way. So she's been playing a lot of Brood War, and I don't know how much StarCraft 2 exactly she's been practicing, but yeah, that's definitely a interesting talking point as a few lings escape away to the top left. This Adept wanting to get to the bottom, but unable to. We'll see the second gateway from Trap now setting up here as well, so fully completing this wall-off Robo facility going to complete in the main. And there's a lot of lings from Scarlett in the center of the map. So moving around the right-hand side. We'll see an Immortal already starting from Trap here, who... I mean, the fact this is a Robo opener is kind of already a bit crazy. From Scarlett, she actually is droning, so it's not as much of a link flood as I once thought. But yeah, just a fast Immortal. Definitely feels as though Trap is afraid of what's up. Or maybe just ready to go for that big Immortal push across the map as well. That's obviously a big possibility right now, too. Well, Ling's setting up. A couple of Adepts coming out the side. Adepts moving up. And Travis is going to drop a Forge, so there is just going to be that follow-up of saying, right, okay, well, you know, I'm ready for this game to go on a bit, but still we'll have the initial push with the Immortal to try to get a bit of damage done. These Adepts are going to get surrounded eventually, and the Lings will pick off one of them. The second should shade away with ease. Yeah, we'll see how much Trap gets done across the map. I actually don't think he might not even go use the Hallucination move. This is just less units, and for some reason I keep expecting this army to be kind of twice the size of Gateway units almost, but yeah, not the case, obviously. There's the Lings back up the left side. Our Hallucination going to be taking a bit more damage. Plus one attack on that Forge. Twilight Council building. And there is the Immortal. Continuing through as well, as we got a little push up the left-hand side. And Hallucination comes in, just going to be picking away at the Overlords. So again, just trying to poke Overlords around, almost kind of denying vision in a way, but, you know, pushing it back onto Creep, which is already given vision, right? But anyway, it's not really anything major. A couple extra sentries warp in. We'll see if Trap can pick up a couple of kills here. Maybe like a force field on the Queens is what I'm expecting, but that Queen backs away just about in time, apparently. More Zald's going to warp in. We're going to see these drones in a bit of trouble. And these roaches popping out. The Ling's going to come in for a full surround. Scarlett comes in from that left side, and Trap wasn't really ready for that. Evacuates the Immortal. The sentry's going down, though, as the recall comes in. A couple of the units, an Immortal and 2 sentries, go into the main base via the Prism. Good catch, though, from Scarlett, and able to make a lot happen out of that. There's the 2 sentries and the Immortal coming through and chasing down just a couple extra drones. Trap really salvaging the situation, but still lost a fair amount right there. Yeah, I mean, I guess it wasn't super crazy. Look at resources lost. It's a little bit favorable for Trap still. There's Scarlett, you forced a recall. Now this Prism is actually out of position. That's actually a huge deal. This Prism didn't get recalled, so it's on the wrong side of the map, and Scarlett's about to hit a big attack. Already running Lings to the third, and immediately Trap realizes, hang on a sec, that's a lot of Lings. I can't be out the front fighting this. When is that Prism going to turn around? It's really going to be the question. There's 2 Adepts heading to this third base as well, so Scarlett's in a lot of trouble herself. She's likely to take a lot of damage in this. That shield battery goes down, and now there's no super battery potential, so I'm still worried for Trap here, but there are going to be a lot of drones killed on Scarlett's side of the map very soon, so then she maybe can't really follow up with as much army as she might usually want to. Continue to pick her way through gateways here. Now she's through. She's going to be able to start fighting this army a little bit more easily. Good force fields, though, slowing this progress down. Obviously, these Immortals surviving a long time because of it. There are 2 new sentries being warped in. Are they going to be able to change much? There's so many Ravagers here. I really feel like Scarlett needs to get on top of this base, though. On top of these Immortals, though. The Prism ends up coming back home, and these Immortals are going to end up surviving, and that is just such a big deal. I can't believe this one survives on 1 HP. The Immortal staying alive is massive, and I love the idea that Scarlett had for the fight. Could have been better executed. It's honestly hard to say. I just feel like maybe at the very end she could have dove on the Immortals a little bit more, but even that's not easily done. That was a close one. Lings down the right side. Prism taking some damage. Down to the center. Lings coming in. Just going to be seeing this Immortal. Sentry Zealots being picked away as well. So they're taking a lot of damage. The other Lings coming through. Archon coming up. The rest of this Ling Roach army continuing to the upper right. 30 Zerglings in production right here. As the Prism has 2 Immortals going up the left side as well. The other Lings wanting to move around. Lings come in, cancel on the Nexus. I mean, I like that Scarlett's kept Trap down to 2 bases, of course, right? So Trap on 2 bases, not really getting anywhere else. The third Nexus on that left side. Prism with the 2 Immortals over the far right-hand side of this. Lings, Roaches, and the Ravagers coming through as well. Just going to have those Lings tracking the Prism all the way up this right side. Bane Nest down on the natural, and a couple Queens get here pretty quickly to turn this Prism around too. A little bit more crew spread, continue to be cleaned up right here. Baneling speed coming up on that Bane Nest. Roach speed getting going. Evolution Chamber from Scarlett in the back of the main. Just going to see the Lings continuing through. Roach Rav just still coming to the front as Trap had around to the top side. Man, it's kind of a weird game. Trap's finally gotten the third base up, which is obviously going to be a big helping hand. The worker count's obviously not great for Scarlett, but considering Trap's not being able to mine from a third, the economy's not been terrible for Scarlett either. And she is now getting to that point of having Baneling speed, which is obviously a big plus. No upgrades, though, for Scarlett, I guess. No melee upgrades or anything. Not even a missile upgrade, so the +2 attack from Trap is definitely going to be a big advantage there. Honestly, this is a... It's been an interesting game, and Trap looks like he'll get the cancel on the 4th base. Obviously, that kind of, the issue reverses now. It was fine Scarlett being up at base when Trap was on 2. Now it's equal bases, and now Scarlett really wants to get to 4 bases, but she loses the drone. And yeah, good play by Trap. Love the Prism play so far. I think Trap's getting into a very good spot, right? I mean, looks like he's thinking about Storm maybe. Okay, Archon's coming in. I wouldn't mind seeing Storm because he's seen a lot of Lings, right? And I think, has he seen the Bane Nest wiggling? I mean, he knows the Bane Nest was building, so he must know Banes are an eventuality here. I really wouldn't mind Storm against the, against what looks as though Scarlett wants to make a lot of Lings soon, or a lot of Banes soon. For the moment, I think the Archons are fine, but, for future-proofing this army, Storm really is just the next step, I guess. So I'd like to see that, but otherwise, Trap's army looks great. Takes a 4th base as Scarlett takes hers. And yeah, okay, so for a while, I actually kind of was trying to figure out who's ahead, but I think really Trap is looking fantastic here. The more you look at it, and the fact that 4th base is already started from Trap, doesn't look like Scarlett can apply too much pressure. You look at the upgrades. A lot of Banelings already morphing in. Overseer into the main. A couple of Changelings drop down, and well, there's a few more Banes from Scarlett just getting morphed in underneath. So that's the first part of the first few. And these Archons just hold the middle of the map right now. So that's on the right side. Again, more Banes coming up. The melee upgrade about to complete on the Evo, and still just seeing Scarlett wrapping around. I mean, I feel like Scarlett needs to get aggressive as she maxes out here. And she's making the Baneling counter maybe actually do that. She's got Banes to run on this side, but Trap's already prepared with the defense. Now these Banelings are going to get caught before they're even morphed in. Flings, Roaches, Ravagers. All setting up. Scarlett to the far right, and we're just going to be seeing Trap still out around over on the left. The Banes trying to make their way into this. Going to go blowing up some of these pylons and batteries, perhaps. They actually do get through, but I mean, obviously you don't have +2 melee, so you're not one-shotting probes anyway, and I mean, then you got like 1 probe in the end. Now Scarlett's in this weird position where Trap's almost going to intercept this army. There's honestly just not that many Banelings in this still. This is still very Zergling heavy. As Archons are going to drop back out of this prism, dodging the bars pretty well. I mean, there's a lot of the Banes suddenly showing up from behind. They're going to finally start getting through this, and Scarlett, can she turn this around with those Banes that show up? I mean, it's going a little bit better for her than it was, but there's still a lot of high-tech units here. These Archons, these Immortals, and they are very difficult to get through. They're very tanky, and that's why Scarlett can't really continue to pressure forward, because even though it's only 6 or 7 units that survive that fight, it's 6 or 7 very powerful units. With the micro potential of a Warp Prism involved, it's just not really going to work out. I mean, I like the Archon play on the Prism, doing a little bit better. These couple units kind of ran down there a little bit haphazardly. Super Battery going to pop, though, and that's something we didn't even consider in the last fight because it happened out on the map. And that kind of maybe just goes to show how confident Trap has been feeling, being able to fight away from batteries, etc., which obviously are only going to increase the chances of success in these fights. Scarlett just doesn't quite have the supply to really fight this off, as we're going to be seeing a few Zealots charging through to the front lines. The Road Traveler is going to get pushed away. Eventually, Scarlett types out GG. And Trap will win the 14-minute game to at least put a point on the board here for Jin Green Wings in the series. As in the top, in the bottom left-hand side, we'll start over here, as we already are here. Our Blue Protoss player from Jin Green Wings is Trap, taking on the Red Zerg. In the top right from BraveStar Gaming, Scarlett. Last map of this series then. Again, we don't play Game 7 unless it's tied 3-3. We do play all 6 maps, and again, I know a lot of people are like, well, why? And I know we can be like, well, map score. I think another thing is the whole point of this league is that, it's meant to... I mean, there's a couple of, production side things, I guess, first of all, is like, it means you're guaranteed 6 games every series at least, which means from a production value, producing a stream, you're guaranteed a certain amount of time generally, which is always good for selling, the product to sponsors. The map score then still has an effect, but also this league is kind of designed to give Chinese players a chance to show themselves. And if the Chinese players get sent out in the 3rd series, and then that 3rd series isn't needed, it's kind of a shame, because then the league kind of misses on a chance to showcase the players it's meant to showcase, right? And that wouldn't have had an impact today, for example, but, it's one of those things where it's obviously not ideal to play games that are quotation mark pointless, but again, it's also not pointless. Like I say, map score can actually have a big impact in tiebreakers, obviously, so these are, this is still potentially an important map for Trap to still win out on, really saved the map score of Jeanette Green Wings in this overall best of 7, and hence in the groups a little bit. Because if you get, like, you know, if you go down like 6-0 or something, that's like a hell of a crawl back up for sure. I mean, Jeanette right now are already at, I mean, with this, they're 2-1 with like a pretty middling map score. So it's important that Trap does win a couple games. Otherwise, they'd be on a negative map score, and that, well, that's weak when you consider the other teams who are on 2 wins are on +6, +9, +8, and Jeanette on +1. So yeah, Jeanette need to put in some work to start picking up some maps here for sure. Otherwise, tiebreakers are not going to go their way. Tyson Chrome, we've been playing Follow the Overlord because not much has happened in the first couple minutes. This probe was a slight annoyance in the main, as always. Other than that, obviously Scarlett did get a hatchery down on the natural, so there's no blockage there. And I imagine we might just see a Stargate out of Trap fairly soon. Adept Trap moving down the bottom left side. Probe coming across as well. We're just going to be seeing the Stargater Trap already setting up in the main base. Stargate coming in on the main. Just going to be seeing this probe moving around. Probe up the right, moving in toward the third base. Going to see that Ling speed about to finish up from Skull. A couple of drones jumping out and into this extractor. Another couple of drones down to the natural. And a couple Lings just going to continue to chase down this probe. This probe goes down. Queen's on the way out. Just going to be seeing the extra drones all in the way here then. Spore Crawler coming up. Another gateway from Trap out the front as well. So again, a lot of setting up right now. A lot of building up as this Oracle just continues to move around. It's going to be unable to really find any damage just yet. So no kills for the moment. There's 8 drones still coming up. Queen on that third base. We do see the couple Queens able to put some damage out onto this Oracle. Nexus from Trap sets up on that third base, and we do see the Adepts continuing around the upper left-hand side. Queens of Scarlet back up toward the natural. The Oracles continue to set up. The Lair building in the main. Just going to see the Forge and the Twilight Council continuing to build here, as we do see the Oracles coming in. They are going to pick off this Queen, and a couple of drones continuing to go down. So again, picking away at those, and back in we go. 3 drones picked off. And Trap now going to get to the upper right-hand side as our Nexus building on the third base with the Overlord of Scarlet out down in the 6 o'clock. Just trying to spy on some bits and pieces, but finally able to do some damage, even if one of these Oracles gets a little trapped back there. Tries to come out, actually just take some extra hits. Just checking the, I don't know, checking the Queens are still there, I guess. Couldn't see them initially, so Trap just seeing if there was a way out. Answer was, no, there wasn't, not just yet at least. Well, Ling's running through, and we do see a pretty good surround, and that's catching a lot of these initial units out the front. The Oracle will turn back around, and there's a lot of sentries that are getting picked away at, so that's actually a pretty good pick off from Scott. 3 sentries is really, really good value. And now you're missing a lot of force fields potentially as Trap to maybe make a follow-up attack happen, to even defend the third base as easily as before. So that's obviously problematic as well. As this Oracle continuing to move around. Couple Oracles still setting up. Scarlett's going to show us the idea of what she wants to bring into this sixth map as she's going to drop the infestation pit. And there's the Nidus to follow up as well. So we're going to be seeing the swarm hosts coming up here. And she is going to look to utilize that on a map where there's a lot of good space for Nidus locations. Swarm hosts can pop out, go different directions. Pile on out over to that side as well. A couple of oracles moving up the top here. Destination gets picked off. The extra swarm host still coming through. +1 missiles on the Evo chamber. And still these oracles are trapped back out into the center. A lot of Ling Roach from Scarlett. Moving down the bottom side. Ling Roach army wants to move down the bottom left. That's the Ling Roach still moving around as well. Looking to try and set up Ling's, Roaches, Queens, all set, and we do see the Nidus already dropping down. Stalkers and Immortals coming through, gonna pick this Nidus off, so the Nidus gets picked off pretty much immediately. And a couple of extra Ravages from Scarlett still building. Oracles. Really nice to deny that first Nidus coming up, because now already you're missing out on your first chance to get the first wave of Locusts out. And we've got 19 Swarm Hosts, by the way. I don't know how Scarlett's gone up to 19 Swarm Hosts before firing a single round of Locusts, but, well, let's see how these turn out. I mean, Colossi on the way. Once you get the Colossi up, obviously that helps a lot. Trap's moving forward here. As the Swarm Hosts start to move out of this Nidus, definitely seems like that was a position where Scarlett was ready to fight, so Trap is right to move back, head towards shield batteries and more. So here you go, these Locusts going to set up. A couple of stasis wards though, and if they can catch a few of these Locusts already, that could be a pretty big deal. Let's see what they catch. That's actually a huge catch on a lot of the Lings. That's going to create a bit more of a permanent force field almost, as some Locusts do get down. The super battery isn't enough to out-heal the Locust DPS. But considering that's the first wave of 19 Locusts, it's not very badly badly handled at all. It's actually pretty good for Trap. Minimizing the impact here initially. There's a few Stalkers moving through, a few corrosive bars in the sky, a lot of Lings going down as Stalkers blink forward. A lot of these Lings continue to be picked off. A lot more Locust setting up as well. I'm going to be pushing over. A couple of these gates continue to go down, dropping down. Going to see a lot of these Stalkers in trouble. Is on the bottom side, another Nidus setting up. Brave blink forward from Trap here. He realizes that the Swarm was on cooldown, so he says, you know what, I can get in. I can try and fight those Ravages a little bit. It does make a pretty good bid for it right there. A little bit of battle continuing here. Scarlett backs away. I mean, obviously just waiting for more waves of Locust to really make this work. She is transitioning into Lurkers behind this. Keeping Trap pinned back on 3 bases. If she can then get to Lurkers and make that kind of style work, you know, make that kind of composition work out, maybe the 5 bases can really power her up in all of this. Definitely a possibility as our army pushes forward still. Disruptor shot goes off. Action just continuing. Disruptor shot's going through, and we do see a couple of the Ravages being picked away at as well. Disruptor still coming through. Another shot goes down. Ravages getting blown up once more. And these Locusts up in the sky continue to make their way forward. All of these Swarm was backing away as Stalkers, Colossi, Back through into the center. You see the few Stalkers here going to pick off this Nidus, so that will go down as well. Stalker's able to come in. 2 Queens go down in an instant. We do see the Spore still setting up at the front also, so that Spore Crawler going to go down. Queen gets picked off. Another Disruptor shot is still coming through. Big moment right now as Scarlett tries to defend. The Disruptors are disgustingly good on these Locals, on these Swarm Hosts. You can see that Scarlett's supply is hurting, and she's not getting much of a chance to rebuild. What's she even rebuild with 600 gas in the bank? Honestly, not much. I move forward. I mean, the Lurker helps, but there's only one of them. If there's a couple more Lurkers, maybe this would be scary. Abducts on the Disruptor. A lot of Blinding Clouds to help against the Stalkers, but you know what? There's just no actual damage output here until the Swarmers are back off cooldown. It's not going to be enough, and Trap does take Game 6. And again, save some map point scores for Jin Air in this series.